Welcome back to another episode of CHP Sports. I am Anthony D'Orazio. To my left is Kenny Barber. Kenny, how you doing today?
A little tired. Early mornings for me. Been up
We,
for 4 hours already.
we are recording this early on a Tuesday morning, so we could make sure we were able to react to what ended up being a blowout game, effectively, for the Monday night wildcard playoff game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. So I figured we could start there, right? Were you surprised that the Cardinals did nothing effectively in the entire game?
A little, not really. I mean, the Rams defense on paper looks like a Pro Bowl team. Like they have every big name, and they picked up Von Miller this year. So I mean, I'm not surprised. I thought it would be a little better game, just because the Rams have been so like hot or cold, right, this year. I mean, obviously they had a good year overall, but they had some weeks where they just looked bad, right? So
Yeah,
it's been the theme of the year for NFL teams. Like you're like, I think they're good, but then some weeks they're not, and I think they just kind of put it all together. And that Cam Akers, woof, the guy had a torn Achilles in July. How
that's
does that
amazing.
happen?
That is
How is he
amazing.
and running like that? Like, all right, maybe somebody comes back from a torn Achilles and like goes to their office job, right? These guys, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference coming back and then like coming back to play in the NFL and being explosive and running. I mean, that was crazy to watch. So yeah, I wasn't like surprised, but I thought it would be a little closer. I mean, they destroyed them. Their defense was just phenomenal last night. So yeah,
Yeah, they're.
what'd you think?
I didn't watch the game closely. I watched it. I was doing a little arm workout, and I watched part of it like between sets and for the first half. And the second half, I watched. By that point, the game was effectively over, so I didn't do watch too closely. And then,
Which will come to
sorry,
my next point.
yeah, sorry, I had an autoplay ad just started blasting in my ear when I'm on fucking ESPN's website. Thank you, ESPN. That's amazing. Um, yeah, to me, it's their defense played really well. I think against that pass rush, if you get behind like Arizona did, and that pass rush gets the pin its ears back,
Yeah,
there's not a whole lot. You're not going to have a great time, and you combine that with Kyler Murray, who is, as we discussed when they played the Browns, my observations then were he's really, really good, but he is super loose with the ball. And that when he threw that horrid pick six from within his own end zone, it's like what he just I don't know what he was doing there. I mean, he held the ball for like
yeah,
18 years and then made an awful decision. So, and once that happened, I think that was kind of that put him up. I think like 3 touchdowns and 3 scores, and so after that point, I think it was over. So
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not surprised. I think Arizona never quite played up to how good. It's like everyone kept saying like, "Oh, they're a good team. They're a good team." It's like, well, when was the last time they really played well? It was like really before he got hurt early in the season.
yeah, and
After
he
he got
hasn't been
hurt, they
this.
never played great.
He hasn't been the same. And then Hopkins was hurt, right? They missing a
Yeah,
big piece with that guy. J.J. Watt had a full shoulder reconstructive surgery. Somehow he played.
yeah. In fact, he
You
was
know,
back. Is amazing.
I think it was 10 weeks or something. That's again doesn't make any sense.
Something
Um,
absurd.
but I think like the Cardinals just they were so good early. Right, everything was clicking, and they were running the ball well. If you can't run against the Rams at all, like you said, they're just pinning their ears back and full on rush to the passer, and he can't. It's hard to get anything. There's no time to throw the ball. And then like you said, and then he holds on to it too long the one time, and just he's trying to do too much, right? Um, but my next point is, I think the idea of Monday night playoff football is atrocious. Uh, no one on the East Coast is staying up past halftime because it's too late, and I'd rather be on a Saturday or Sunday. I don't understand it. I think the seventh seeds are worthless at this point. They all got blown out basically. Yeah, I don't like the Monday night, and I don't like the games are mostly blowouts. I liked the games, but they were blowouts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm trying to think. It's going to be hard for us for them to get rid of the Monday night now that they have it, and there's
I know
so
that.
much
That's
money
why I said it.
involved.
Yeah, it's all about
But
money. We know this. But from a viewership standpoint, by 10 o'clock, I'm ready for bed, right? It's like, I don't feel like staying up till midnight to watch a football game on a Monday night. I had to get up early.
yeah,
So, and then, so we can go back to first game was the Colts, they didn't make it. The Patriots and
well,
the
first game was Bengals Raiders.
Bills.
Bengals Raiders
Or Bengals Raiders, sorry. Bengals Raiders. And yeah, the Bengals look good. They look solid.
They look good
I
until
wouldn't
they played the prevents you from winning defense at the end.
Yeah, I don't know why teams did that. The Dallas game, same thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was. I mean, I
49ers
understand
did
why
the same exact thing.
I understand why they do it, but at the same time, it's like you can just play three safety high, right? Like why go into a shell defense? And then the other thing was they were playing a shell defense, a prevent defense, but they were also playing it where they weren't protecting the sidelines until like the first 5 plays the Raiders ran on that last drive. The Bengals were not protecting the sidelines. So it was like the weirdest defense they were playing. It was like just prevent deep, but let them throw and get out of bounds, like underneath and for 10 yards. It
Yes,
was like, what are you
they're
doing?
stopping the clock and they're getting yards. And the 49ers did the same exact
Yeah,
thing.
it's the same
They were
thing.
20 yards off the ball. They were throwing it 15 and they were getting 20, 25 a clip and running
And
out of
getting
bounds
out.
because nobody was there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
So
know.
bad.
I don't understand that defense. But yeah, Joe Burrow looks great. He looks really good. The defense looked good. The Raiders aren't exactly high powered. They never really scored a lot of points all year. But still, the
Yeah, I
Bengals
mean,
did what they were supposed to do. Held them under
Carr had
20.
some high number. Carr had high numbers, but he threw the ball 600 times because they were losing the whole game, right? So you
Yeah, and
expect
like he
that.
probably got 60 yards on the last drive.
Yeah. So
So
again, it wasn't a blowout per se, but it was pretty. You knew who was going to win for the most part.
as I told my wife when the Raiders went to that last drive, I think that's where there was that weird roughing the passer penalty that really shouldn't have been roughing the passer. I think it was that game on that last drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was that play that the refs kind of mucked up, and there was the whistle on the Bengals touchdown early, which
was bizarre. How do you blow the whistle when the ball's in the air?
Why are you blowing the whistle then? Like, and the thing was, it was going to be a touchdown no matter what. Like that guy, the defender, like yes, he eases up on the play, but he was out of the play. Like it was a touchdown.
Oh, he wasn't. Yeah, he wouldn't have got there either way.
Yeah, he wasn't getting there. So it was one of those things where it's like, no matter what decision, at that point, once the guy blew the whistle, whatever decision they made was going to piss off one of the two teams. Right?
Correct.
By the letter of the law, they should have rerun the play. So I understand why the Raiders are pissed. But at the same time, like if they rerun the play, Cincinnati's pissed because they're like, not only was it clearly going to be a touchdown, like we said, the defender wasn't getting back into that play, but Burrow was in by like a foot and a half. It wasn't even close. Like I don't know why that guy thought he went out of bounds. Like it was like you watch the replay and you're like waiting for his foot to land like right before the line, and it lands this far away from the line. You're like, why is he pulling this? He's not even close.
What was the ref looking at? Yeah, I didn't understand why the random whistle made no sense. Bizarre.
Yes. So that, and then there was the roughing the passer call at the end where the Bengals defender's like this in front of his helmet, and kind of like gently grazes the front of his helmet, and they call it. Yeah, it was bad. So let's view it as a wash, I guess.
Yeah. But in the end, the Bengals were the better team, right? In the end, it was.
Yeah.
That was pretty evident.
I thought that was evident. I thought if Raiders would have won, I would have said the Bengals bronzed themselves, right? It would have been bad, right? They would have basically lost the game more so than the Raiders winning the game, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah, so that game was at least like exciting towards the end, though. At least like there was a final drive.
Yeah. And then
Sorry, I got
the
alarm going off.
The Bills annihilated the Patriots. Like annihilated them.
I mean,
they won by 30.
So I know you don't like the blowouts, but in terms of seeing a blowout, that one was quite impressive with just how dominant it was.
I mean, Josh Allen, he's really good. He had really 300 yards. Yeah, he had 5 touchdowns throwing. He had 66 yards rushing, I think. Yeah, 66 yards rushing. I mean, the guy is a physical specimen. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He's really gifted in all facets of the game. And I mean, his arm's unbelievable, and he can run, and the guy's a freak. So he was 21 for 25. Pretty efficient day.
It's a good game.
300
solid.
Yeah.
Solid game.
That's a lot of yards on 21 completions, 5 touchdowns. That's a good game. Yeah. I mean, Patriots had nothing for them, nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wasn't surprised there. Again, it's like the Bills. Some weeks they look incredible, right? And then some weeks you're like, what was that? So again, not surprising, but Mac Jones, he didn't even have a really bad game. He had 2 touchdown passes. Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but he did have the 2 picks. So turnovers in playoff games are so big.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Can't do it. But for a rookie, right? I think he had a pretty good year.
Oh yeah.
I think I think they have their quarterback, right?
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
another year under Belichick, they'll be fine.
Yeah, and they'll get him some more pieces offensively. They don't have much, right? They just have a lot of guys that are just,
Which, to be fair, has kind of been Belichick's MO, but
yeah.
They probably do need like 1 or 2 actual dudes. That can really make stuff happen. Yeah, to me, the biggest, it wasn't that Buffalo won. It was the way in which they won. In comparison to that first game, they played 3 times. The last game they played, where it was cold in Buffalo, and Buffalo couldn't do anything that game. They lost to a team that threw three passes. So the fact that they were so dominant and so efficient with their passing game, I think they did well early to establish the run and using Josh Allen as the rusher, because he's just, like as you mentioned, he's a tank. As a runner, and he's just really hard to bring down. He's basically like a really, really athletic tight end with running back skills
that you're not allowed to tackle.
yeah, you have to watch out for if he slides. So, congrats to them. They look really good. I will be honest. The next game, Eagles Buccaneers. I watched none of this game. I had no interest because I figured what was going to happen is what actually ended up happening, where the Buccaneers just dominated and seemed to blow them out. So I have nothing to say other than I'm not surprised at the score and the way the game seemed to progress as I checked on ESPN during the time slot.
Well, look at it this way: that the Eagles scored all their points in the final quarter, right? It was 31-0 through 3 quarters, and at that point, Bucs kind of just called off the dogs, if you will, and get ready for next week, right? And it was. So you look at Hurts' stats, and he's 43 attempts, 250 yards, 2 picks, 1 touchdown. I mean, he just looked not really well at all. I think he's an NFL quarterback. I don't think he is the answer, though. He misses on throws all the time. He's throwing to the wrong guy. He throws high. He throws low. He's not accurate. But he runs it well, right? They do. What do you have? He led the team in rushing, right? 39 yards. But but that's another red flag, right? You have Miles Sanders and Bart Scott and these guys, like, you're a rushing team and you only rushed for not even 100 yards for the game, right? That's not going to win against Tampa Bay. It's just not going to. You need to keep them off the field. You need to run the ball. You need to have long drives, right? Because Brady just went down and picked them apart and does what he does. It's just Tom Brady in the playoffs, right? He had a very efficient day. He was 29 for 37, 271, 2 touchdowns. It's a good day, right? We know their defense is good, right? So it turned out like you said, it turned out how we thought it would. And I know Hurts is still young. I just don't know if he's the answer. I really don't. Friends with tons of Eagles fans, right, on social media. Man, they were not a happy bunch.
I imagine that.
Last year they hated Carson Wentz. They wanted him out of town. And then Hurts was the savior of everything, and then now they all hate him as well. So it's a tough city. Let's be honest. It's tough to play there. So the Hurts hate was loud. But they've also made some really terrible draft picks. Rieger had a terrible drop punt turnover. The guy who got picked over Justin Jefferson, who's an all-pro wide receiver now in the NFL. Yeah. And Rieger had like 300 yards receiving this year, and he can't catch a punt. So, that's where the fans get angry. It's just a lot of bad decisions. But, Patriots, Tom Brady's last team. The Buccaneers are pretty good. Again, another team where they're good, right? But they haven't looked as sharp as usual. So, but not surprising on the blowout. And then that took us into the Dallas game, which I think you did watch a lot of.
I did watch a decent amount of that one, yeah. And, 49ers look good. It was the good 49ers we've seen towards the end of the season. What I expected, it was the inconsistent Cowboys that we've seen kind of all season. And, again, as we kind of already discussed it, the end with the Bengals game where 49ers really had control of the game and then almost tried to give it away the last, quarter effectively because Dallas wasn't doing anything up until that point. And they almost did, but managed to pull off the Cowboys and win the game.
Yeah, and the weirdest play in that whole game was so the 49ers get the first down, right, and you think the game's over, right? And then they review it. They move the ball back like 8 inches, right? And now it's like fourth and like this much, right? So what do the 49ers do? They run like double motion in the backfield. The lineman's shifting. Why are you doing that? And then guess what? Offsides. Illegal procedure. But why are you doing that? Just line it. You needed 1 inch. Like what?
I don't mind the motion. I don't understand how, as a quarterback, the guy has to get set. You also know he's a 300-pound behemoth. So it's going to take a second.
That's my issue. You can do motion, but why are you sending the 6'9", 380-pound guy who doesn't go in motion ever, right? It didn't fool anyone. You know what I mean? Like, it's like having your center bring the ball up in a basketball game. Like, he's not the point guard. Let the point guard bring the ball up. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And this is where coaches drive me bonkers in the NFL. They make things too fancy. You just line up and get the inch. You needed 1 inch to win the game. So then Dallas gets the ball back again, right? You just handed them back the ball. It just made no sense to me. Yeah. Insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a combination. It's like, do you blame the coaches for calling that play call? And the other hand is, well, how much the coaches can't execute, right? So if is that something Garoppolo is just not good at? Does he never check to make sure people are set? If that's the case, then yeah, it's the coach's fault. If it's something where he just, brain farted up there and just hiked the stupid thing too early. Then, yeah, because, they got like 3 yards on the play. Like, they got plenty of yardage. Yeah. It wasn't like it was even close.
Ball game. Game's over. That's it.
Yeah, game should have been over. Yeah. So, I agree. That play was super frustrating to watch.
Then Dallas they get the ball back, and the D-backs are literally 25 yards down the field. And they're just throwing 20-yard passes and getting out of bounds. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like they took the let them throw underneath to the extreme. Don't let them throw underneath for 5 yards. Let them throw underneath for 20 yards.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. I'm like, what is this defense? And they went right down the field. I'm like, Dallas is going to win the game. They were only up 6, right? I'm like, this is crazy. They're going to win.
Yeah.
And then Dallas figured out a way to not win. So,
well, I mean, it's Dallas.
Dak ran the ball, and they had no timeouts left.
I was trying to remember how it ended. Yeah, that is how it ended. Yeah. Yeah, that was. I mean, you just got to remember that it's going to take time to reset. Like you got to go. You got to basically get the first down there. Get 5 yards, 6 yards. Get down. Like because
even if running though, and then
even if they get it,
that guy
you're hiking it. It's a jump ball, basically. Right? Are you really running a play at that point?
And that guy had to run all the way. The ref had to run all the way down. He has to touch the ball right and set it. And the center didn't hand him the ball, so that took longer.
Yeah,
it was like shit, that end of the game was just awful football all around.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great.
But the 49ers looked good before that. They really looked tough. They look like a good team this weekend. So, and like you said, they have been playing well at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then,
we'll see. We'll see how long Bosa's out. Is he out for this coming week? Do we know? Because he had that concussion or head injury or something.
Concussion, I guess we'll see how bad it was. He could play technically, I guess, but it depends on the protocol and how bad it was. So, it's a big piece of their team. And that leads into the Pittsburgh game. I'm sure you were happy about that.
Oh, as I believe I told my brother and my brothers and my father, there was no amount of points that the Chiefs could score that would be enough for me. I wanted more. That meme of Kylo Ren from Star Wars just screaming more. That's what I sent out. Just more. I mean, to be fair, both teams looked like trash the first 8 minutes of the game. Neither team looked good, and then the Chiefs did what the Chiefs do, and that was it pretty much.
Yeah, they scored 21 points in the second, so that was like, and you're like, oh man, and then he scored 14 in the third, and then it's blowout city there. Ended up winning by 3 scores. And it was,
the Steelers are just not, especially under Ben, this year, they are just not a high-powered offense. They don't.
No.
They can score. They're able to score enough where they'll steal games, which is what they did, I would say, a lot this year, where they won games that you look at, you're like, how did they win this game? It's like, well, because they were in it at the end, and they're a very well-coached team under Tomlin. Tomlin's a phenomenal coach. And, he gets the most out of his guys, and so they can get a score or 2 scores, pretty consistently, but it's getting, past 30 points. They struggle with all year. So.
And then Mahomes, I mean, he had an incredible game. 30 for 39, 404 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. I mean, that's just what the guy does. And Pittsburgh's got a lot to think about this coming year, right? They're going to need a quarterback. I think they do need a little more firepower there. Their defense was okay this year, had flashes of being a good defense, and then not so much. So, I mean, this game they got lit up, right? They got carved up by Mahomes. So. We'll say they definitely need to find a franchise quarterback though by next year, sure. Or draft somebody, right?
For sure. So that takes us into the second week of the NFL playoffs, which I'm going to try and pull it up here. The divisional round, I guess, technically. So Saturday we have Cincy at Tennessee at 4:30 p.m. This could be a good one.
Yeah. Cincy at Tennessee. I mean,
I assume Derrick Henry's back for this game? Do we know for sure? Wait, see if
they said it was a possibility. I mean,
Derrick Henry's return visit for Ryan Tannehill.
He is?
I want to say he is. Let's see here.
He said he's on his way back to the field. Tennessee officially designated return from injury reserve on Wednesday, clearing him to practice and opening his 21-day window. So it looks like.
Well, I'm going to assume he's back at least in some capacity.
Yeah, but even if he's not, I mean, they've got these 2 guys that are running their butts off on their team.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee wins, and it's not a knock to Cincy. I think Cincy's had a great year so far, and I think they're the future right now in that
Agreed.
division. Yeah, and Tennessee is just a complete team. They've been there, right? They've been in the playoffs. I think they're going to win. I just think they establish a run. They keep Burrow off the field. They do their thing on offense, and I think it'll be a good game now.
Yeah, I would say I feel similarly, mainly because of the running attack. I think Cincy's, having seen them twice with the Browns, playing them twice, I think they can struggle a little bit stopping the run. The Browns had, good success running the ball against them both games. The second game when it was, yes, they had a lot of their starters out, granted. We also didn't run Chubb a lot. We mostly ran Dearness Johnson, and he still had over 100 yards against them. So take that with a grain of salt on both sides, but that's what it was. So I kind of agree in the sense that, given it's Tennessee, given their running attack, I think they're able to establish that. And so I'm going to give the edge to them in terms of winning. I will say, if Burrow and Chase get going, that prediction could look real stupid real fast. So if Tennessee gets down, as we've discussed, Tennessee is a play from the front team. That's the way they're built. Just like Cleveland is. Cleveland's built to play from the front. So if Tennessee gets down 2 scores, since he jumps on them early, maybe you hit a deep ball to Chase. You get another, you get a 3 and out on Tennessee. You get another long drive for Cincy, and they get 2 touchdowns early. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for Tennessee to get back in the game, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's the scenario where Cincy does win, right? Get up big early and force them to throw and be one-dimensional. So, yeah, I'll pick the Titans.
Yeah, I'll go with you there. I'll pick Titans, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cincy pulls it off. San Francisco at Green Bay is the late Saturday game, so 8:15 p.m. This is going to be my upset special.
Ooh.
I'm assuming Bosa's playing. I'm going to pick San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't.
This is my upset special.
I'm not shocked by that. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, but I have to pick Green Bay. I just think they've been the most consistent team all year. But I like the upset call. Doesn't surprise me.
I agree. I just think Green Bay's had close calls in a few games. Like the Browns should have beaten them, right? I forget who.
Yeah.
I think we were depleted when we played them. We were missing people, and we still should have probably won the game.
Yeah.
And I feel like San Francisco, again, a similar team to how the Browns are constructed. So I'm comparing just what I know and how that played against Green Bay. So, San Fran can run the ball a little bit. They can, Jimmy G, kind of similar quarterback in terms of where they are in the NFL, is like a Mayfield, where they're hot and cold a little bit. But let's if you get good Jimmy G, you get a little bit of a running attack. I think they can do some things here.
And Debo
maybe catch.
Tough, man.
Oh, Debo's that guy. That guy's no. Like, I watch San Fran just to watch him. Mm-hmm. Like he's like must see TV to me. Yeah. It's phenomenal. So yeah. All right. Let's go to Sunday. Los Angeles Rams at Tampa Bay. So 2 teams that both basically won by pretty good amounts this weekend. Basically blowouts. They won by. Did they play during the regular season?
I feel like they did. I think it was early. I believe.
Versus Buccaneers, they beat. So the Rams beat the Buccaneers in week 3. It looks like 34-24. Where was that game at? It was in Los Angeles when they won, which is like a neutral field given it's Los Angeles. So
yeah, and I think. LA looked great, and Tampa didn't look bad either. I think LA's got too much for Tampa, though. I think Tom's out early this year, but again, if he did win, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, I can't believe Tom Brady won. I would be like, that's just what he does. But I go Rams here.
Yeah, I think They looked really locked in this weekend. I'm going to go with you. Pick the Rams here. I think, who's their quarterback? Stafford.
Yeah.
He looked really good.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna go Los Angeles. I also think this could be the game that looks the dumbest in terms of my prediction because if the bad Rams show up,
Yeah.
the bad Rams could get blown out.
Yep.
Right? They're like that far across the spectrum in terms of like what version of their team will show up. But I think the good Rams they seem locked in. I think they sort of got some of it figured out this week.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
And that brings us to the final game of the weekend, Sunday night, Buffalo at Kansas City, 8:30 game. I forgot to mention this. The Los Angeles Tampa Bay is 3 p.m., which is kind of a weird time, so I'll mention that for our listeners. And Buffalo, Kansas City, Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. So you're getting also that kind of weird time. What's a good time because then it's not so late when it ends.
Yeah, at least it's not 8:30 like last night. I like the Bills right now. I think they're the better team. It's going to be a great game, though. I think this will be the game of the week. Tough to win in KC, right? But they've been there They were there last year, right, in the AFC Championship.
Yes, I think so.
Or was that 2 years ago? I forget. But
recently,
yeah, it's becoming a little bit of a rivalry, I think, with those two teams, two young quarterbacks, studs. So I like the game just for that fact, but I think Buffalo pulls it out.
my heart says Buffalo, so I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
Kansas City's Kansas City, so, but man, Buffalo looked good this weekend, and that was in totally horrible conditions. Right? I mean, it wasn't snowy and windy, but it was cold. So
it was really cold. It was snowy the next day. They got blasted with snow.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I just hope it's a great game because I really like watching both of those guys play football because I think they're both great. I like Mahomes.
Yeah.
I like Allen. So
yeah, very, very
I hope they both throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. That would be ideal. That's when we win. That's when the fan wins, right?
That's right.
I don't want to see a 15-16 game or something like that. I don't want to see it. I want a shootout. Let's go.
Give me all offense all the time. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'll take Buffalo there along with you. So our picks are we both have Tennessee. I have San Fran. You have Green Bay. We both have LA. And we both have Buffalo, which is probably a little surprising, but we'll see how they play out.
I like the upset call though. Yeah. It'll make an interesting weekend. No Monday Night Football this week. So
there you go. Very exciting.
That's another win.
Any other announcements from you on your end, Kenny?
No. Pretty boring life right now. Wrestle life and sleep. That's about it.
There you go. There you go. Other announcements, CHP announcements. Our group training, power building / off-season, whatever you want to call it, is kind of a hybrid of all that stuff. We're extending we're kind of doing a slow rollout of that this week. So if you're still interested in that, just link in the description. Check it out. Kind of opening that up this week. And other than that, check out our Instagram, all that fun stuff. All the links are below. Kenny, thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, everyone. We'll probably see you next week to discuss more NFL playoffs. Peace out.